What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some great topics for you guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And we're starting off with a big EA game finally making its way to the Nintendo Switch, and that is a brand new listing for Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition. So let's go ahead and get into this topic here. So last June, EA said that it'd be bringing 7 different games to Nintendo Switch over the next year. A few of these games have already been released. So for example, you've got Burnout Paradise Remastered, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, FIFA 21 Legacy Edition, Apex Legends is on the table as well. That's going to be coming out, and Lost in Random are also coming too. Now that does leave us with a couple more games, and it seems like Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville will be one of those mystery titles. Now, VentureBeat claimed several months ago that Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville is also happening on the Nintendo Switch, and now it seems like we are getting very close to that announcement. Now, Gamefly, which is incredibly accurate, writes Nintendo Everything when it comes to retailer listings, just put up a page for Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition. It's listed for a March 19th release, which is a plausible date, but given how we've basically got 2 months away from release, EA should be making an announcement sometime soon. Now, as for the complete edition part of it in the title, EA is likely throwing in the DLC that was previously released separately on other platforms to make up for like the year or however many odd months this game came out before, and they're just like taking their time to port it over, whatever the case is. So it looks like we're gonna get that, like with a lot of Switch complete editions and stuff like that. So if you don't know about this game, essentially what it is, it's a third-person shooter competitive Plants vs. Zombies game. I think that's the best way to kind of define it. There's online multiplayer. It has a single-player campaign. There's customization to the battles. I mean, there's quite a number of different things to do in this game. At least 20 fully customizable classes that you can use in there, and a lot of different personality. I mean, the game is cool. I've watched people stream the game. It seems like it plays well enough, but once again, we're gonna have to wait and see how the port kind of works out on the Switch. But it is a bigger, I would say, topic type of game for EA. I mean, obviously we still have Apex Legends. We've had some other stuff kind of come out that's pretty good, but this is one of the games that people felt would have been really good to be on the Nintendo Switch, considering the style of game that it is. I think that local ad hoc type of play where you have multiple Switch systems could be very fun to play with somebody. Obviously, online multiplayer would be good as well. I don't really think there's much more of a community left for this game on other platforms. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you can probably still hop online and play people and everything. But I just remember watching the single player campaign, which actually looked pretty cool on top of the multiplayer stuff. So it is a full game here. We're going to have to wait and see what the price is, but I'm guessing it's going to be a full price $60 game. Although I think it wasn't full price on the other system, so maybe that might not be correct. But once again, you guys can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong on that one. But to be honest, guys, this EA support, is it actually substantial? No, it's really not. They're not bringing over their biggest games over. They're not bringing over everything here. But what is significant about this release, more so than any other release that we've gotten from EA, is that it's finally a Frostbite game. This has been, I guess, the major issue, is that EA never invested the time, money, whatever the case is, to get Frostbite on the Switch. And with this game here, this will mark the first one, which shout outs to Doc Trey. He talked about this quite a while ago. So this will be the first one. So maybe it leads to other games coming over, because that was one of the big barriers. But then again, Unreal Engine 4 is also supported on Switch, and we don't have like Jedi Fallen Order and all that. So just because it's supported on there with an engine doesn't mean it's going to come over, you know, or anything like that. But it could be the start of them potentially thinking about putting some other stuff from Frostbite on there. I mean, obviously there's some like Battlefield games and there's stuff that they can throw on there. I think people would probably buy, because there is a lack of like online multiplayer shooters. There's no Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch. So a Battlefield on there at a good price, like with all the DLC and stuff, might be a good investment for EA to do if you're into those type of games. But either way, it is a big announcement here when this does come because of the Frostbite and because the fact that it's Plants vs. Zombies. You know, this is a game that people really do like, and it gets pretty good scores too in terms of reviews and everything. So what do you guys think about Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville probably coming over to Nintendo Switch pretty soon here, with an announcement coming probably very soon as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic here, guys. We have the actual reason that Bravely Default 2 was delayed from 2020 to 2021. It's coming out not too long from now, February, mid-February or so. So the game is on its way. We got that final demo to kind of make up for what was going on here. They put some improvements into the game. It's actually looking really good. But recently, the producer of Bravely Default 2 talked about why the game was delayed and what was going on with it. So here's what they had to say with this interview. Bravely Default 2 will come out on February 26th. Yeah, not mid-February, the end of February. Its original release was 2020. Did the pandemic end up having a big influence on development? And here's what the producer had to say. It did. We announced the release info at the Game Awards in 2019 and proceeded accordingly with that goal in mind. Development overlapping with the spread of the virus, combined with the fact that we were unsure how long things would go on for, had quite an impact on things. As an example, progress on voice recording for foreign languages was slow. We had to coach the voice actors remotely, and they had to record in their own homes without background noise, then send the audio back to us. Everyone involved really gave it their all, and we got it done. We're a few months behind schedule, but we were able to get the voice work done without much trouble, which I can tell you guys something from me doing my own recordings and stuff like that. You think everything's good, and then all of a sudden something drives by outside and it picks up, and you're like, man, I might have to re-record that, or something kind of came up. So yeah, this is something that can cause delays and everything. And if you're talking about multiple languages and you're talking about, well, it's going to be Japanese and also English, the pandemic, I mean, I can completely see why that's the case. And a game that we're going to talk about in just a bit here with Persona 5 Strikers actually got delayed longer as well because of the pandemic and not being able to get voices recorded, and they have to do from home, and that just delayed things too. So it was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting to kind of see how they made up for it. But I think at the end of the day, I think it worked out pretty well for both of these games when it comes to Bravely Default 2 and Persona 5 Strikers as well. I think that they did a great job. I love the voice acting in both of the games. So they did the best with what they were given. But Bravely Default 2, for those who don't know, man, it is a great game. You don't have to play the first game to get into the second game. It's like Final Fantasy, where it uses like a different type of world, uses the same themes and magic and some of the enemies and stuff like that. But the story is going to be something new. So you can play it without playing the first one. Although if you can play the first one and kind of get into the combat and what they do there, I think it'll help you out with the second game. But overall, it's looking amazing. They have tons of new jobs and classes and cool stuff in the game. The graphics are much better than what we saw on the Nintendo 3DS. And the story looks like it's going to be pretty magical, just like the first game was as well. So what do you guys think when it comes to Bravely Default 2 and the real reason why the game was pushed from 2020? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And moving on to the final topic here, guys, we've got a brand new, really cool action trailer for Persona 5 Strikers. It's actually titled All Out Action Trailer, which is awesome here, guys. And what I love about this trailer the most, it really shows the essence and style of Persona 5 Strikers. This is a game that I know I'm going to be playing like crazy because it's not a Warriors game per se. It has Warriors-like combat, but the structure and the format and what they do in this game, it's just not that. Think of it as a typical Persona 5 game, but think of it as an action RPG with some warrior-like combat elements in there. Because you're not just going from checkpoint to checkpoint on a map and kind of getting strongholds. That's not the basic structure of the game. It's more lined up like a typical RPG. It's more lined up as if you were playing like something like Dragon Quest or something like that, right? Like any other RPG that you might play out there. And they really do a good job of blending that, of blending Persona 5 and what you do in that game. You have tons of cutscenes, you have dialogue options, you have all these little things with the combat and like the mechanics and some of the characters and everything, and they translated that over to Warriors-like gameplay, but then also put in structural things that would make it seem as if it's a Persona game. You have dungeons and labyrinths. You have some cool platforming parts in the game as well. It's not just action RPG. There's platforming in the game too. So they've done a lot of cool things with it. I think it's going to be a great game to pick up no matter what platform you're playing it on. For those who don't know, Switch version, also PlayStation 4 and PC. Of course, PS4 and PC, 60 frames. Switch version is 30 frames when it comes down to it, but it still plays really smooth. We got English gameplay. It's not hitching and lagging or anything like that. So if you want the portability aspect, you can go with that there. If you want the frame rate, better graphics and stuff like that, a little bit smoother, although it looks very similar, but the resolution's higher. You can go with that. And I love the fact that they're expanding to PC. They're expanding to PC. They're expanding to Switch. It's not just PlayStation for a inline, pretty much mainline Persona 5 game, because this is a follow-up to Persona 5. This is canon in terms of what they're doing. So I think that kind of shows what they want to do going forward, and why not make that extra money? I mean, we see developers do this all the time. If there's not a deal in place, there's no need to only keep it on PlayStation, which I don't think there is a deal in place. So yeah, get that out on other platforms and let people enjoy the game. So this is really cool. I'm excited for it. Now, there's also one thing here, guys. This game comes out February 23rd, but if you pre-order the game, the digital deluxe version, you can play it 4 days early. So I think that'll be like on the 19th or something like that. So you'll be able to play it early if you do pre-order it. One thing I do want to read from what Atlas put out, the key features of the game. The new story incites. Persona 5 Strikers features a deep story campaign and thrilling combat that makes for a true Persona experience. Visit 6 different cities across Japan, cook tantalizing regional recipes, and lend a helping hand to those in need. Then fight against shadows to uncover the source of the corruption within the metaverse dungeons. Jump into the story whether you are a newcomer to the series or a long-time fan. So they also talked about the hybrid battle system in the game, which fuses explosive action combat with pause and plan sequences to decide what your next strategic move is. So it does kind of pause it almost like a turn-based, and then you can do your attack, right? So that's also another really cool thing that I do like about the game. It is fun. It is a lot of fun, and people just thought maybe it's just going to be like another Warriors game, but it's really not that. I highly suggest checking out the Japanese demo if you can beforehand, because the Japanese demo lets you play it. It's on PlayStation 4 and it's also on Switch. You just have to have a Japanese account to access the eShop or PSN in order to download it. And you can play and see for yourself. It's really good. So what do you guys think about all these different topics here, guys? From Plants vs. Zombie, big EA game, Bravely Default 2, and Persona 5 Strikers. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.